Hey everybody, it's Jody and it's time for another review. Today we're going to be reviewing the Kmise Guitalele. Look at that, 6 tuners y'all, 6 strings. So we are going to take a close look at this instrument and talk about the specs and the design, the playability and the sound and the value. But before we do that, I just want to let you know I'm planning a series of Guitarlele inspired videos coming up. So if you have any specific questions about Guitarleles, put them in the comments. But yeah, we're going to be digging deep, and so I am going to be explaining more what it is in future videos. This video is really just reviewing this specific instrument. So let's get into it. This instrument right here is 31 inches from the top to the bottom, and it's a 20-inch scale from here to here. 20-inch scale, which makes it about a baritone size ukulele. It's about the size of a baritone ukulele, with the 2 extra strings, of course. The body is made out of a laminate mahogany. And first, the pros, it's pretty thin laminate, resulting in a pretty resonant instrument. However, it's about as boring as can be. In my opinion, it's just a very kind of generic looking instrument. Just not that exciting. That's my own opinion, and I don't like big flashy instruments, but I do like beauty, and I just find this to be kind of generic looking. It does have this rosette right there, which I believe is a sticker. There's some places where I feel it. So it does have that little rosette, but again, that's just kind of generic in my opinion. We've got this tie bar bridge that it did not say in the listing what it is made out of, but it's got a little bit of like a gloss finish to it, which I found a little unusual. While I'm down here, I will also say that it did not specify what the saddle and nut are made out of, so I don't know. It does say, however, that the fretboard is made out of walnut, and running your fingers up and down, you can feel the frets a tiny bit. They're not super sharp. I've definitely felt worse, but I can feel it. It's not 100% smooth on the fretboard. The neck, again, I don't know what it's made out of. I'm guessing mahogany or sapele, but it's 3 pieces. There's a joint right here, and there's another joint here. And so that's the neck. They call it a C-shape neck profile, which I'm not even really sure if that's accurate, but we'll talk more about the feel of it in just a few minutes when I talk about the playability. We've got some closed geared tuners right there, which do the job. They conflict with themselves in the description, first calling them an 18-to-1 ratio and then 15-to-1. It really doesn't matter, but those are the tuners. Now I really like the buttons. They're plastic buttons, but they have some variation in the color, making them kind of interesting. In fact, I feel like the buttons on the tuners are the most interesting thing on this instrument, aesthetically speaking. There's the logo. It's like some kind of inlay, which I'm happy to see because I've seen Kmise instruments with a big, ugly foil sticker for the logo. So this one's nice. It's an inlay. And that's our logo right there. We have front side front fret markers and side fret markers, and it also comes with strap buttons, which is great if you are right-handed. I also like one other little design feature. I liked how the fretboard comes down and wraps around the sound hole, right there. And that's about it for the specs. Also the strings, they are calling these 3 strings are silver wound copper strings, and these 3 strings, they are calling titanium strings, which I'm not really sure what that means. I know there's a titanium type of string that Diodario makes, but these are not those because they don't have that telltale purple hue to them. They're pretty clear. They look like clear nylon. I'm not really sure what the strings, these other 3 strings are, but they say they are titanium. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Let's talk about the playability for a moment. I mentioned the frets are a little bit sharp, just a little. I really don't notice it while I'm playing much, so the action seems pretty good. In fact, it might be a little low, and I'll talk about that again when we talk about the sound. It's got a truss rod, and it comes with a Allen wrench. Theoretically speaking, you can adjust the action that way, although I've never tried that. The nut right here is 48 millimeters wide. Now, to put that in perspective, most of my ukuleles are 35 to 38 millimeters wide, which makes sense because there are only 4 strings. This is 6 strings, but my guitar is 44 millimeters wide. So this is considerably wider than my guitar's neck. And I notice it when I play it, especially when I play it for a prolonged period of time. My hand starts to get a little bit cramped and fatigued by that. So we're going to talk a lot more about that in future videos when we're talking about guitaleles in general, because most of them I found all have these big nut widths. So just to put it out there, if you are considering a guitarlele because an acoustic guitar is too big for you, then this might not be the answer. Now, if you're familiar with classical guitars, it's probably more closer to the width of a classical guitar nut because they do have wider necks. But for me, it's a little bit of a hindrance. It's just a little bit challenging to play for a prolonged period of time with such a big nut right there. All right, let's listen to it. So that's what it sounds like. Let's talk just in general first, what you can expect from a guitarlele, the sound of just a guitarlele in general. It's gonna have a fuller sound because we've got not only 2 extra strings, but those 2 strings are lower notes that you're not gonna find on any ukulele, even a baritone ukulele. So we're gonna have a fuller sound. We get these nice bass notes and we get 6 strings. But you could say that about any guitarlele. So this one in general, I do like it finger picked. It's got a pretty good sustain. And while I'm on it, the intonation seems pretty good as well. And I like when you're finger picking, you can play those bass notes and let them ring out. However, when you start strumming it, I think it gets pretty muddy pretty fast. It's just not very clear, and it doesn't have like that sparkle that I love in ukuleles. Now, I don't if any guitarlele has that sparkle. I've only played 2 so far, and we're going to be comparing those in a future video. But also, if I play it like loud and play it hard, strum it hard, I get a little bit of buzzing too. And I don't know if that's because the action is too low or that the strings are just too low tension. I don't know if you can hear that. So I just don't really like it strummed all that much. Finger picked, I do. Strumming, it just doesn't really do it for me. Now, I do have a set of new strings I'm going to be trying on this that I'm really excited about, and maybe that'll make all the difference. We'll find out together. But as is, I think the sound is a little bit the same quality as the looks, which is just a little bit generic, just a little bit, just kind of ho-hum. Now, let's get into the value and talk a little bit more about who this might be a good fit for. So this instrument is available on Amazon, and by the way, there will be an affiliate link down below if you're interested, but it's available for $89.99 on Amazon. Now, with that, you get this baritone-sized guitarlele with the strap buttons, and you also get this case, which I think is pretty nice. I like the case quite a bit. It's got the embroidered logo on there. It's got a nice big pocket. It's got backpack straps. It even has a loop for hanging it on the wall. Nice padded handle, and this little rubber pad on the bottom, so you can put it like on the ground, like leaning against a wall or something, and it's not going to get dirty. So I like, the case is pretty nice. It's not super padded, but it's got a decent amount of padding in it. So the case I definitely think is good value, good quality. It comes with the little Allen wrench I mentioned to adjust the truss rod. It comes with picks, which I think 5 picks, and I think that for me just added to the muddiness when I tried it with the pick. But it does come with 5 picks, and then it comes with a strap that you can use. The strap is a little bit on the thin side, but it does appear to be pretty nice quality. So that's what you get for $89.99. I did kind of forget to mention, I didn't find any blemishes or flaws on this instrument. And I do look pretty, I scrutinize them, looking just to see what passes for quality control on these Amazon brands. And this particular instrument, I didn't find any, except for right there, if you can see, and the finish is so thin that you can kind of see like the bare wood peeking through in a couple spots, but that was the only place where I saw that. So I think for 90 bucks, if you're curious about a guitarlele and you want to just kind of have some fun with it, I think it is worth the $90. I'm kind of just learning about the world of guitaleles, but in my initial research, it just doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of like mid-range options, certainly not like there are with ukuleles. And so it's just a little bit like I want to say, you know, maybe spend a little bit extra money and get a little bit higher quality one or a little bit prettier one, but there's not a whole lot of options. However, I will be comparing this to the Caramel Guitalele that I've already reviewed on this channel, and I do think that one's a little bit nicer. It is a little bit more expensive. It's got solid wood and a pickup, and so if you are on the fence, be sure to check out that video where I'm going to compare those side by side. But if you only want to spend $90 and you just really want to try out a guitarlele and you can afford $90, I do think it's worth it. It's going to give you an idea. It's just not going to be stellar sound, if that's what, For stellar sound guitarlele, you're gonna be shelling out some bucks. There's a few I have my eye on, and I just don't know if it's an instrument that's gonna be played enough for me to justify spending a lot of money on one. So that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. And again, let's get some conversation going about guitarlele so I can address them in my future videos in this series. I didn't even talk at all about the tuning of this one, so I guess I'll go ahead and do it now. This one is tuned right here, starting on this string, G, C, E, A, just like ukulele with a low G. So just like a soprano, concert, or tenor ukulele with a low G, it's got that. And then we have two lower notes, which is the A and the D. So all together, it is tuned just like a guitar with a capo on the 5th fret. And that's traditionally how guitarleles are going to be tuned. However, that's not how this one's going to be tuned once I get the new strings on it. So stay tuned for that. Have a great day, guys. Don't forget to play your ukulele today, or your guitarlele, or whatever makes you happy. And I'll see you real soon.